It's smart to have a base level value for your points. You can go off of what the blogs say, or you can have your own valuation for all of your point currencies, but you do want to have a base level value as a reference point. So when you actually end up making an award booking, you can determine whether or not this ends up being good value or bad value for your points. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to discuss points valuation. So recently the PointsGuy just released its updated page for points valuations for all the different most popular points currencies that are out there. Now, many people like to use the PointsGuy as a reference point to figure out what the value of their points are. Now let's break down what all of this actually means. You see, points are actually a currency. A lot of people don't see it that way. They kind of look at points as being like fun money or monopoly money, but you actually use points to exchange for different services or goods. If you end up having airline miles or hotel points, you can redeem those points and miles either for hotel stays, for flights, for nice bottles of champagne. If you have points with one of the major banks, you can exchange them for gift cards, laptops, travel, cold hard cash, or you can end up exchanging them for airline miles or hotel points. So while points might seem like funny money, they actually end up being valuable rebates that you get back. And depending on which points currencies that you actually have is going to determine how you can actually end up exchanging those points. Now let's take a look at the PointsGuy's new valuations of the major banks' point currencies. It has American Express membership reward points listed as 2 cents per point in value. It has Bilt reward points listed as 2.05 cents per point in value. It has Capital One venture miles listed as 1.85 cents per point in value. It has Chase Ultimate reward points also listed as 2.05 cents per point in value. And then it has Citi thank you points listed as 1.8 cents per point in value. So these valuations are what the PointsGuy feels you should be getting for your points. So if you have American Express membership reward points, you should be aiming to get yourself 2 cents per point in value or more to be able to get at least average or good value for your points. Now I know that people who are deeper into the points and miles community probably see 2 cents per point in value and think this is actually pretty low for what I can end up getting for my points. However, people who are newer into the points and miles game probably see 2 cents per point in value and think, wow, this is actually great value. How can I get that consistently when I'm redeeming points? So the way you're gonna be able to get this level of value for your points or more is gonna be by taking advantage of the transfer partners that's connected with your credit card. Every one of the banks on this list has transfer partners, whether they be airline transfer partners or hotel transfer partners that you can end up transferring over your points, many of them at a 1-to-1 ratio, and then turn your credit card points into being either hotel points or airline miles. Now, many of these transfer partners actually do overlap with these banks, such as like Avios or KLM Flying Blue points, but some of these credit card companies actually do have unique transfer partners that's only connected with their program. So like American Express is the only one that actually has ANA as a transfer partner. ANA is a Japanese airline, so if you want to fly over to Tokyo, or you want to take advantage of the many sweet spots that ANA has connected within its program, then you could do that by transferring over your American Express membership reward points over to your ANA account. Now, this is the awesome thing about the points and miles game because you may have never flown ANA in your entire life. However, you can acquire many ANA miles just because you end up having a lot of membership reward points. Now, the reason why you'd want to do this is because for many programs out there, you get much better value for your points when you actually end up transferring out your points to these programs as compared to either using cash back for your points or using the travel portal. An easy example that I love to show people with this ends up being with the World of Hyatt program. Now, World of Hyatt is a transfer partner of Bilt Rewards and also Chase Ultimate Reward Points. Now, while the PointsGuy may value World of Hyatt points at 1.7 cents per point in value, I have found it very easy to get myself above 2 cents per point in value when I transfer over my points to the World of Hyatt program. Which means that if I happen to grab either my Bilt reward points or my Chase Ultimate reward points and transfer them over to the World of Hyatt program to make an award booking, it shouldn't be very difficult for me to get myself above the 2.05 cents per point valuation that the PointsGuy has on Bilt rewards and Chase Ultimate reward points. So transferring over my points to this program instead of cashing them out or using the travel portal is actually end up being better value for my points. But this isn't the case for every program. Chase is also partnered with IHG. IHG points are valued at 0.5 cents per point, which means that if you actually end up transferring over your Chase Ultimate Reward points to the IHG program, you're gonna be cutting down the value of your points to only being 1/4 the value that the points guy thinks you should be getting for those points. It'd be smarter to just cash out your points and then use that cash to make a paid booking because you're gonna get yourself better value that way. The Points Guy's valuation is going off of average bookings. So this takes into consideration all the economy award flights you can end up booking, also the premium economy, the business, the first class, and then also the partner award bookings as well. So while American Airlines miles may be listed at 1.5 cents per point in value, you can get much more value than that if you actually know how to do the right award booking. An example of this would end up being if you actually wanted to fly on Japan Airlines in first class, you actually can do that because they are partnered with American Airlines. As both of them are in the One World Alliance, Japan Airlines first class flight would cost 80,000 American Airlines miles. Now, if you actually end up looking at the ticket cost for this flight, it ends up being somewhere between like $10,000 to $15,000, depending on what time of year you are making this booking. If you make this booking, this would end up giving you over 10 cents per point in value for your points. This is the reason why I say that points and miles are way more valuable than most people realize. Because the thing is, 80,000 American Airlines miles is not very difficult to actually obtain. But when it comes to having $10,000 of disposable income to use for a one-way flight, this can end up being a lot harder for most people to come by. Now, the Points Guy has Bilt Rewards points and Chase Ultimate Reward points at the top as being the most valuable points out there. I actually do agree with this, and while I am a big fan of American Express membership reward points, they're just not as versatile as something like Chase Ultimate Reward points. But the thing about American Express membership reward points is that I think that they're actually a lot easier to obtain as compared to Bilt Reward points or Chase Ultimate Reward points. For that reason, I think that that's why American Express membership reward points are the most popular ones out there. Because when it comes to actually just getting their points, whether it be through Rakuten, their generous referral program, or the higher multipliers that are connected with their cards, it is just really easy to obtain membership reward points. Plus, American Express has more airline transfer partners than any other program out there. And when it comes to actually transfer bonuses, being like 25% or 30% going over to these different airlines, American Express does it way more than any other bank out there. When it comes to the top value for airline miles, the Point Guy has Avianca Life Miles and Korean Air Miles as the top two programs. Now, I actually find this pretty interesting. Avianca Life Miles are definitely a great program when it comes to looking for business class flights over to Europe. I will say though that their website I feel is terrible and can end up being very frustrating to use. And I've also heard that if you happen to have any problems and you call into their customer service, it can end up causing a lot of headaches that way. But I guess if you're just looking at the actual value when they did many multiple award bookings, the Korean Air Miles and also Avianca Life Miles was the top two programs. Now for me, I would have thought it would have been something like Air Canada, American Airlines, or Alaskan Miles, because those to me end up being the most valuable miles out there. Now when you end up looking at hotel programs, as you'll see is that most of them are gonna be under 1 cent per point in value. So what this ends up meaning is that it's probably wiser to actually grab the points that you have, cash them out, and then use that cash for a paid booking. Now, this isn't going to be the case every single time. There are going to be things like transfer bonuses that may end up making it more valuable that way. Or if you end up taking advantage of fifth night freeze with some of these programs, such as like Hilton, definitely do the math. But just know that in many cases, if you end up cashing out your points and make a paid stay, it's probably going to end up being the best choice. Now, is this list perfect? No. But I think that it ends up being a great starting point for people who are newer into the points and miles game. I have my own valuation for my points, and I try not to go below that value because if I end up seeing that I will end up going below that, I'll just end up making a cash booking and use those points for a future award purchase. Now, one thing I do see a lot in the points and miles community is people becoming too fixated on the value of their points. People want to be able to brag about getting 20 cents per point in value for their award flight. Is this awesome? Absolutely. But if you don't end up getting that level of value for your points, that doesn't mean you shouldn't end up making the award booking. If you actually see a flight that you want to take that doesn't have some crazy value for your flight, however, it's going to work out best for you and your situation, use your points for that award booking. A major thing that I've learned is that just because something is listed as a higher cost doesn't end up meaning that it is actually better. An example that I could give within the points and miles world would be 2 business class flights that I booked. One of them would be a domestic business class flight, transcontinental with JetBlue, and another one will end up being an international business class flight that I booked with Iberia. Now, usually JetBlue Mint business class flights within America will cost somewhere near about 100,000 JetBlue miles. However, I was fortunate enough to be able to get it after my rebate with my JetBlue card for close to about 70,000 JetBlue miles. Now, I flew this JetBlue Mint business class from Boston to Los Angeles. I also flew from Madrid to Los Angeles in business class with Iberia. Now, I was able to do this during peak times, but I also took advantage of a transfer bonus. So it cost me about 50,000 points that I need to transfer over to Iberia to make this award booking. When it comes to my cents per point in value for this Iberia business class flight, I got myself over 6, close to 7 cents per point in value for my points. Now, when I compare the two products, being Iberia business class and JetBlue Mint, I found JetBlue Mint to be a better experience. It wasn't that Iberia was bad, I just liked JetBlue Mint's seat being more comfortable. I was in the throne seat, so I actually had more space with my JetBlue business class seat. I also liked the food better. I felt that the stewardess were also nicer and more attentive as compared to Iberia business class. So even though the ticket price is listed a lot higher with the Iberia business class, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna end up being a better experience. Because if tomorrow I need to fly on one of these aircrafts in business class, I'm gonna end up going with JetBlue Mint. So definitely don't get too caught up on trying to get an insanely high redemption value. It is good to have at least a base level value, and if you want to use the PointsGuy's valuation, this can end up being a great start for people, but anything you end up getting above that ends up just being sprinkles on top of your delicious dessert. But hopefully you enjoy this video. Let me know if you happen to have any questions about points and miles valuation. Do you agree with what the Points Guy actually has for his valuation? Where would you change things? Drop that down in the comment section down below. If you happen to be interested in any credit cards, check out my referral links in the description box. If you decide to use them, it will really help out the channel, and I'll be incredibly thankful for your support. And if you happen to really like this video, then please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace.